What is the reason for the double stack 9-11 craze right now?
Well, I think, honestly, I've heard from a handful of folks that it's striker fire fatigue.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Kimber, Hodgdon, NRA, Safariland, EOTech, and Range Ready. Hey, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, a brand that you know, I guarantee you know, I guarantee that you've seen their marketing over the years, and they've done a lot of things and have a lot of fanboys, but you may not have heard from them in a little while, at least on this show. So it's exciting for me to have here in the studio, Kimber Firearms, Everett Deger. Welcome in, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. I mean, we've been walking around. You were showing us some of the guns. We've got guns on the table. So if you're listening to this via podcast, you can go watch it. Go watch it on all of our video channels and check it out because you've got the pretty guns on the table. But I mean, it's so true to me. To me, Kimber is, everybody knows Kimber. I mean, you guys, especially when gun magazines they still exist, but they were like the only way you could find out about stuff. Kimber was there on full page ads, on the back cover and all these things. And it's kind of this brand that's been on a journey, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. So last year was Kimber's 45th anniversary, which is kind of ironic. A company known for making 1911 45s has been around for 45 years.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks don't realize that we actually started as a rifle company back in the late 70s, 1979. So it has been quite a bit of a journey. We've run into a number of really great folks along the way. Chip McCormick was one of them who really helped establish our brand for 1911s, and had a lot of really great folks who've been a part of the brand, who's helped develop the brand. And to your point, we were everywhere when it came to print, and now we're everywhere when it can be digital. So,
sure. I mean,
full circle.
You got to stay with the times. And people are learning about guns, not just on the magazine shelves. But you mentioned rifles, so I wanted to ask you about it because I feel like I still hear people talk about Kimber rifles, and I mean they were very nice rifles, but are you guys not doing rifles anymore, or what's the story?
You bet. So there is a terrific history. So if you go back all the way to the beginning, Jack Warren, who founded the company, which was purchased by the Edelman family, we'd got our reputation started with 22 rimfires. And the rifles have been an integral part of the brand for a number of years, and what set Kimber apart kind of in more of modern times and mainstream, especially in the mid to early 2000s, was our Mountain Ascent line.
Yep.
So we really created a gun that, not unlike some of our current pistols, was designed by enthusiasts who were literally working on building a better product for themselves.
The people at Kimber were like, I just want this gun.
Well, yeah. I mean, and aren't the best products come about that way? So at the time, years ago, Kimber's marketing wing was in Montana. So they had a lot of really tremendous access to some of the most beautiful hunting country anywhere. And you had different altitudes, you had a lot of different circumstances, and a lot of the end users at the time were saying, well, hey, the rifle needs to be this particular weight, the barrel has to have this particular contour, the action needs to be fluted. You know, how far can we take it to make it as lightweight as possible? And the lightweight hunter and the Mountain Ascent rifles were born. So
you guys were one of, if not the first big gun company to be doing those lightweight mountain rifles. I mean, you had the ultralight arms guys and some others that kind of specialized in that, but they're sort of boutique shops and made it very popular, and people going, wait, a rifle can be this lightweight to carry, especially up hills?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the sad aspects, I would say, misnomers in our entire industry is recoil. You know, you see it every day where people are putting comps on pistols to defeat the ominous recoil, right? And if you consider the academics and the fundamentals of how you shoot, you're going to mitigate recoil instinctively, you know, either how you hold the rifle, how you hold the pistol. And even if you're going to carve out so much weight, I mean, guys are going even further now where the stocks are even shorter and the barrels are down to about 18 inches, where it almost looks like it should be a training tool versus a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
I mean, David Falbian approached me as a writer for Guns and Ammo years ago, and he said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he goes to his car and he pulls out this rifle, and it's a Kimber. And I mean, and he's got the holes drilled in the action, and the scope rings are moved a little bit, and the barrel is so short. And I mean, and I'm picking, you know, you pick up rifle, it's like this, but then David hands me this rifle, and it's kind of like that. I'm like, gee, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you're ready to like hold up something that weighs 10 pounds.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and
where's the weight?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so Kimber really did a great job, and has always done a really good job of kind of leading some innovation in some categories, and then just taking what other people have done in others and kind of then advancing that. So the rifle category at that time, the mountain ascent rifles, really kind of tailored in that era of, and it wasn't just rifles, it then bled into all kinds of other areas, you know, really lightweight wicking fabrics, you know, the days of waxed canvas were really trending out, you know, your wools, your canvases, your Bob Allen apparel and things like that. That was the furniture of the past, right? Mm-hmm. And then you see the influx of Sitka. So at that time, Kimber had partnered with Sitka to have matching patterns and Zeiss optics as far as that was concerned. So it was very much a system, you know?
Well, and now you've become a major handgun company, and probably thought of as a handgun company more than the rifles. But I know that some people listening is that nostalgia and like, whatever happened to the rifle thing? So, I mean, known for 1911s. I mean, that's probably what people say. Kimber, handguns, they think 1911s. But give people a little bit of backstory, because things have been changing and morphing for you guys over the last few years.
You bet. So we have had a lot of opportunities, and we've been very fortunate when it comes to the way that the customer has continued to accept and receive the brand. So a lot of credit goes out to the first folks who were marketing the brand. Dwight Van Brunt, a legend in the industry in his own right, was responsible for a lot of the way Kimber came about as far as their perception. And, you know, one of the things that happened was Mr. Edelman, the owner of the organization, was approached years ago and said, hey, you know, if you were able to take a 1911 and you were able to customize it the way you would send it off to gun shops and do this or tweak this or round this and polish this, you'd sell the crap out of them. And he had the foresight at the time. You know, he came from a sporting goods manufacturer, or a sporting goods store background. His family owned those in New Jersey. And what he did was he said, you know what, you're right. And Chip McCormick at the time, who's since passed away, he was a legend in his own right as far as customizations. They brought him on board and said, again, you know, you polish this here, you shorten this here, you extend a beaver tail to prevent any of the ominous slide bite that would have befall some people.
These are the things that people were sending their guns off to gunsmiths to have done. And I mean, we've seen this in a lot of different industries, right? What are people doing in the aftermarket to customize their thing, their car, their gun, whatever it may be? And then a big manufacturer says, we'll just make it where you could buy the gun like this.
Well, sure. I mean, and a lot of the folks who were returning from the Vietnam conflict at the time, in the late 70s, early 80s, were doing that to government model 1911s, right? And then they would buy Colts and do the same thing, you know, and it wasn't the firearms manufacturer's job to present custom features. Mm-hmm. And Kimber literally created that market. So when it comes to the Kimber story, that is the foundation of what Kimber is and was we take a standard product, we customize it, and we put that into your hand at half of the price it would take you to go and have that done somewhere else.
Yeah. You are known for pretty guns. And I mean, who wouldn't want a pretty gun? But they stand out, and you've been doing it well for years. We talked a lot about coatings and finishes. After the break, I want you to give us the secret behind all this.
You bet.
EOTech brought out the smallest 3-9 rifle scope I've ever seen. The super short Voodoo 3-9 by 32 rifle scope. Aircraft grade aluminum, lightweight, durable, measuring just 6.8 inches, fog, water, and shock resistant, capped quarter MOA turrets, second focal plane design, has illuminated reticle with 10 brightness settings, And it also has an integrated base compatible with many ACOG mounts. So really easy to mount up and start shooting. Go check it out. The super short Voodoo 3-9 rifle scope. You know, we can all improve on our shooting. And we have Range Ready Studios where we teach people how to shoot even gooder. Some people say better. I say gooder. RangeReadyStudios.com. We have pistol classes. We have rifle classes. We can help you become the best shooter possible. You'll be safer, more competent, and just better at the range. So go check it out, RangeReadyStudios.com. The new CDS9 Classic from Kimber offers a more refined offering of concealed carry pistol. The CDS9 Classic shares many elements with the traditional CDS9, such as 10, 13, and 15 round magazine capacity. The Classic model features fully ambi controls and also available in an optics-ready configuration. The CDS9 Classic is a refined and smooth EDC firearm that provides the accuracy you need and the performance you expect from Kimber. So, Everett, people know Kimber, very pretty guns in colors, flavors. Over the years, there's been a lot of them. Tiffany guns come to mind at some point, I think.
Yeah, we didn't call it a Tiffany, but it was a Bel Air was our model.
A Bel Air, yeah. But, I mean, you know, along those lines, and I wasn't going to go here, but perhaps a lot of women own 1911s because of Kimber. I mean, from the past, not picking on but it was just, they were just attractive guns.
Sure, no, I mean, it's in the DNA for the brand to create eye-catching firearms.
Yeah.
And we have done that for decades now. I mean, in the last several years, we've done ultra models, the 3.5 or the 3-inch barreled models that were in sapphire, which is a blue. They've had emerald, which was a green. There was a rose gold color. So at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, ladies were looking for guns that would be presented as more feminine.
Sure.
You know, so that opened up the doorway to a lot of even what you see on some of the guns in front of you here, which is a PVD coating, which is physical vapor deposition, which really draws in molecules to change the chemical structure of the metal and present it with a different tone.
Well, no, that's what I wanted to talk about, because you guys use a lot of different types of finishes and coatings. Talk about each one, maybe what does it do for the consumer, and how do you choose each one when you guys are designing a gun?
Well, certainly. So, I mean, when it comes to even some of the legacy models, there is a lot of PVD or DLC coating. So DLC standing for diamond-like carbon. So it's going to be another baked-on material, not baked, but actually chemically coated material that enhances the durability. So it's not just a spray paint in terms of a Krylon, as you would think about it. The PVD or the DLC, the PVD is going to be a little bit more fragile, but it's going to give you that really beautifully enhanced tone. You see that in the bronze finish of the 2K11 here.
I have to pick this up.
Sure.
Yeah, we've got the 2K11, which we're going to get into all these new sexy Kimbers that you guys have been doing, but this is a DLC, you said?
PVD on the slide and then a DLC coated barrel, yes.
Okay. And it adds durability?
It does, but one thing to make sure is that it is not impenetrable. Okay, so, you know, if you drop it on concrete or if you scuff it against metal, it will mar the finish. But it's designed to enhance cosmetics, but then also provide a level of durability.
Gotcha. What about Cerakote? Do you guys still do that?
We do. So on our pros, you'll see this model here. This is the Eclipse model. We do a fully Cerakoted model, which is called the Minotaur. So identical model to this one when it comes to the 2K11 Pro, but it's Cerakote top to bottom. And what a lot of folks are familiar with Cerakote, it is a baked-on type finish. We use our own Cerakote, which we call a KimPro finish, which is a similar coating process, again, baking, and it's very comparable when it comes to the durability, but a lot of people are familiar with Cerakote.
Right.
And there's a lot more weathering aspects, that you can do to make the gun look a little bit more seasoned, if you will. That's very trendy, and that's fine. So we do Cerakote, the PVD, the DLC, and the KimPro. So we offer a lot of different options.
All right, but I'm holding. This is really for the last year for you guys has been the hotness. It is what I'd call a 2011. You guys call it the Kimber
2K11.
2K11.
K for Kimber, yeah.
All right, so double stack 1911. It is so nice. It's so nice, guys. It's what you would expect from a high-end, double stack. Tell me the backstory on this gun.
Certainly. So a lot of people would say that this is our first high capacity 1911. Well, that's not the case.
Not true.
So actually about 15 years ago, Kimber came out with a model known as the Kimber 10. And we partnered with another industry brand that helped us produce a polymer frame at that time.
Okay.
And it was available in 45 automatic and 9mm. But to this day, the team over at Metgar still makes magazines for the Kimber 10s. But at that time, the market just was not as interested in high-capacity 1911s as they are now. I mean, still very traditional. Glock was still becoming Glock at that point. And 1911s were still kind of accepted as 1911s. It wasn't necessarily catching on. So when we went to the market here recently, as any brand does and evolves, we kept hearing it's like, well, I love Kimber, but you don't have any high capacity models. So when it came right down to it, our first entry into that high capacity modern market was our R7 Mako. And that polymer striker fired gun was definitely a step in the right direction because it gave us the DNA of being more than just a single stack family.
And I carried that gun for a while. We got it in for doing some filming, and I was so impressed with the shootability and the trigger that I was like, I mean, this is kind of it was unique because it's maybe not like when people say, what do you carry? And you say, oh, I'm carrying a Kimber R7 Mako. You're like, wait, what? And a lot of people may not be familiar with it if they're not gun nerds.
Well, sure.
But it's a great shooting gun.
Well, and honestly, at the core of all of our DNA, from the rifles to the handguns, is our relentless reliability and our inherent accuracy. So there's opportunities in the past that we've had to improve. We've had to overcome some QC challenges along the way. We embrace those. We realize that those things took place, but we've overcome those. And all the products that you see here, these are the fruits of that. So just released last month, this is our next generation for the 2K11, and this is the 2K11 Pro. So in front of me here, I have what we call our Eclipse model. So very similar to some of our legacy Eclipses. It has the polished flats, but it is a remarkably feature-rich gun. And what a lot of people will say, well, what's the difference between this and a Prodigy or a Staccato? Well, it's actually quite a bit. So our gun comes standard with an external extractor. Internally on the disconnector, there's a ramp to add to that really smooth action that you were feeling, and you kind of go back and forth. It doesn't have that bump to overcome when it comes to the disconnector. Like the full-size model, it has our toolless guide rod, which we've patented. You push in on it, and you cam it over, and it captures that recoil spring.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then ultimately, we have a collaboration with MJD Designs out of North Carolina, Matt Johnson. He's one of the only folks in the industry who actually takes these carbon fiber and Kevlar grips, and he machines that texture into those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not molded. And then he does his proprietary magwell. So a lot of proprietary features on the 2K11s, not only the traditional model, but the Pro here. This is what sets these guns apart from a lot of the competition.
Is the magwell part of the grip, or it's an extra?
It is.
Part?
This is an add-on. So that and the same with the traditional. I'm calling it traditional now. The 2K11. That's a Stanchen magwell, but this is an MJD magwell.
Gotcha.
So.
And obviously everything is optics ready. What do you think what is the reason for the double stack 9-11 craze right now?
Well, I think honestly, I've heard from a handful of folks that it's striker fire fatigue. There's just so many, and nothing against there are some terrific aftermarket companies that make really great accessories, but it's been so ubiquitous for, let's face it, 25 years. This is 2025. And back before the Tupperware Glock was so synonymous, now you've got folks who do a tremendous clone with tremendous features, and maybe it's finally gotten to the point where it matures. I mean, you and I were speaking earlier about how the 2K11 and that family has been around for quite a long time, but I think the draw comes from the fact that when people see these guns, they can customize them.
Yeah.
There's a number of aftermarket folks where now you can take the grip off, you can add your own grip, you can put whatever optic on there that you see fit. There's a lot of different color variations and tonal changes. And the younger set is very interested in making something their own.
Yeah.
I think that's a big draw.
I think you're right. And I mean, there's been a lot of gun sales in the past 15 years. I mean, we've had several spikes in gun sales where it just went like off the charts. And how many polymer pistols, AR-15s. There's these certain categories that just got bought. And I like them, you like them, they're great. But at some point, if you start becoming into guns, you're like, I'm into guns, you've maybe filled that category and you want something else. The other part is when they pick up a really nice 1911, and maybe your only experience is with polymer striker fire guns, this has a completely different feel for shooting, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the reason that the John Browning design for the 1911 has been around for so long is the trigger. And what we've done is we have created a recipe between the internal dimensions and the manufacturing capability that we have to produce the best out-of-the-box production trigger that you can. So if you're not familiar with how it works, there is a bow that goes around the magazine, and then it engages the sear and the disconnector in the rear of the gun. And that straight pullback mechanism, it doesn't really shift the gun. You're using the mechanics of your muscles to make sure that you push that trigger as little as humanly possible. And I mean, there's guys who go out there and they dial it into several hundred thousands, where the trigger shoe has to be X number of length, the bow has to be a specific hardness. I see guys who will drill holes to cut weight out of the trigger bow. Right. You know, so I mean, to your point, I liken it to maybe even owning and becoming familiar with automobiles. And I think that a lot of people have used that in our industry, you know, the car industry or the gun industry. And when they go out and they got their first car, it gets them from A to B. I'd say the same thing about some firearms. And then as they learn more and they become an enthusiast, they become a little bit more discerning. Better gas mileage, better comfort, quieter cab, you know, gun that has superior trigger ergonomics, superior return to battery. And I know a lot of young people out there, and even a lot of the older people like myself, when they shoot a gun, they want to be able to control it. And you see the ports are remarkably popular in the last several years. Everybody's porting everything, and that is because people want that desire to control the firearm, to bring those groups in tighter and tighter and tighter.
Well, and another way to put that is control the firearm or not feeling like you're fighting the firearm, right? I mean, you can pick up a gun, and I'm a pretty decent shooter. I can run most guns pretty well, but there's a difference between a gun where you're shooting, you're recovering on the recoil, you're getting back on target, you're resetting the trigger, you're pressing the trigger, your sight's on target, and you're kind of fighting it all along, and it's okay, and you're fighting it. And then there are guns like this 2K11 with the SRO on it, where you have all that whole package together, and you go, I'm not fighting this gun. This is a dream. And you're just going bing, 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 bing. And you just feel like, is this magic? Like, I mean, the gun's not flipping in my hand. You know, because I'm using a red dot with a big window on it, I could just put that dot on, like, you know, a plate rack and just go bing, 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 bing. It just changes the experience. I mean, it really is. I mean, that is a race car of a gun. I mean, you're going from, if you're driving a Camry, and then all of a sudden you're driving something where you say, oh, this is a different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that is part of what our Kimber process was and is again. So the fit and finish, I was talking to a couple of my colleagues that, you know, Kimber is probably the best case scenario in the industry that is combining the most advanced CNC technological capabilities with the best of hand fit and finishing. There's a terrific gun company in Arkansas that says one gun, one gunsmith. And that holds true for what we do. And when I say that, all of our pieces and parts are manufactured in the United States. It's 100% American-made gun. But then all those components come to the desk of one person who assembles that gun and makes sure that the fit and finish is pristine. So we've taken a lot of the guesswork out of having to stone a hammer or finish an edge and that sort of thing. So we've made those assemblies more efficient, which is why you can produce a 2K11 at a dramatically less cost than, say, a comparably equipped 2011 of a higher price point.
It takes a lot of skill for someone to take all of those parts and pieces and put it together and make sure that it's running like that 2K11 would run. Talk about the people who are doing that at Kimber.
Sure. So one of the things that a lot of people also don't realize is that every gun that you see on the table there went through over 200,000 rounds of ammunition in the testing process. 200,000. And we have a threshold where all of these guns have to, before any part, piece, or anything breaks, pin moves forward, has to go through a continuous 10,000 round testing process before it's considered production ready or production validation.
Wow.
So we go through a developmental phase, developmental validation or design validation, if you will, and then production validation. And part of the process is the engineer who is in charge of that project and the project manager. They're saying, how is this gun returning to battery? We have the stop motion and slow motion cameras that'll see how the cartridge is coming into the battery. If it's losing control out of the magazine, do the magazine feed lips have to be adjusted? So the process is very, very intense, and it's arduous. Some folks say, well, hey, you can just put a port on that and send that out the door. But that's not the case. So John McCall and then a number of other engineers within our engineering department were integral in the overall design of the functionality of the gun. And a lot of the cosmetics that you see are attributed to Petty Gega, who is our director of finishing, assembly, and then also product development.
Yeah, you were talking about, the design on these guns, they're so gorgeous, but they have some unique features like the slide cuts.
You bet. So that specific colleague of mine doesn't want me to share it, but that design came from a very personal ornament of jewelry that he shares with his daughter. And I think that those things are important, especially when you consider that that's how much of their selves that they pour into the firearms.
Pull from inspiration from a lot of places.
Well, yeah, it's very, let's face it, a firearm, like a car, again, is a very emotional purchase, a very significant purchase. You're trusting your life in some form or fashion to a firearm. If you're someone who is an everyday carry user or something like that, this is a very important purchase. And I think that, our industry over the last decade is sadly just kind of been focused on more panic buying than passionate buying. And the one thing that is very, very enjoyable working at Kimber is you have passionate enthusiasts who want to just go out and enjoy shooting again and having a good time and saying, hey, I can go home and take my target and brag to someone that I controlled the gun well enough to take my group from out here all the way into here. And that's been what we've been shooting for.
Well, I think that's what you guys are doing with these guns that are on the table. We have a movement towards guns are fun. Shooting is fun. Going to the range with your buddies, with your family. It's just an enjoyable experience. Yes, they can be used for serious stuff too. But when a gun runs like you're driving a sports car, that's a fun experience.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, and nowadays there's the ammunition companies and Federal and Hornady and Barnes. They are producing ammunition that's far more accurate than anything in the past. You have O-drives of bullets and designs themselves that get the absolute best out of the propellant and the barrel that the cartridge is fired out of. And then you combine that with your Frank Proctors of the world, your Pat McNamara's, your Chris Costas, anybody who are masters of their craft when it comes to, terrific forearm size and excellent firearm mechanics. That's half of the battle, right? You can have a beautiful gun that shoots really well, but then you have to master those fundamentals and implement those fundamentals to get the desired outcome that you want.
Everett, you're saying you can't just buy a fancy gun and it'll make you a better shooter?
Well, you can buy accuracy to a degree, but the rest is up to you, yes.
Dang it. We got to go practice and train. Everybody who listens to this hears me just bitch about them all the time. Like, you got to get training. You got to practice. I can go buy a Steinway grand piano, but it's not going to help my piano playing very much.
Yeah, I love there's the Tom Cruise movie, Jack Reacher. He's talking to Robert Duvall, and they're getting ready to shoot some guns, and he says, how long has it been since you've shot? He's like, you worried about my skills? And he says, it is a perishable skill. So yes.
Oh, wow.
Marksmanship is a perishable skill.
I haven't seen that scene. That's great. There's been a lot of changes. We're talking about these very cool guns that are on the table. In the past couple years, you go to shows, you go to an NRA show, you go to SHOT Show. Some of the big public shows. What do people say when they come in the Kimber booth, or what are they asking about?
Well, believe it or not, we were alluding to it earlier. One of the things I get asked most is, where's going to be Kimber rifles? So if it's not that, it's normally, hey, I love my Kimber, my wife's Kimber, my dad's Kimber, my Kimber. I have so many Kimbers. And it really is, we're very fortunate that we have a fan base that has collected Kimbers. I can't tell you how many times we'll go to the Dallas Safari Club show or other events where they're like, I've got a dozen of them in my safe. I can't, and there's there's other individuals out there, and I fail to remember their names, where they happily, confidently say that they have one of everything. And I'm just that's more than we've got.
Really?
You know? Oh, yeah. So they are out there. But no, I mean, a lot of folks are looking forward to, and at SHOT Show this year, we're going to debut the return of some legacy rifles.
Ooh.
So we'd stepped away from some Woodstock rifles. We're getting back into that comfortably. It was a category that we happily say was hibernating, but has come out of hibernation. So we're going to step back into those markets as well. It was one of those opportunities, like we did with some of the other things, where you had a chance to overcome it and come back into it. And fortunately, the leadership is right, and the people who are controlling the product are right as well. So the timing is good.
That's a big one, guys. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people excited about that news. Another category that maybe people don't think of Kimber for immediately, but when you brought out revolvers, everyone went and shot it to try it out, to go, let's see what Kimber's doing with this thing, and went, oh, wow, this is a very nice revolver. Talk about the revolvers.
So the revolver has been actually a sleeper for the brand since its introduction. I believe it was in 2018.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it was kind of caught off guard, but it really fit the DNA. So it has what we call our Kimber non-stacking signature trigger. And our latest introduction in the last few years has been the K6 XS. So it's designed to go head-to-head with other lightweight revolvers. It's a little bit more. It's around $499, $599, depending on where you can find it. But it has an aluminum frame. It has a stainless steel barrel, but it also has a 6-shot cylinder, where a lot of the competitors have a 5-shot cylinder.
Yeah.
So really ideal for what we call an ankle gun or a backup gun. And it really, you've seen a number of our competitors do well with their revolver lines in recent years. But the revolver category kind of ebbs and flows like the weather. You know, it's good one year and it's kind of not so good the other year. And I mean, the one thing that I do love about revolvers is they're reliable. Every time you pull the trigger, that cylinder rotates and a shot goes downrange. I have one of our K6S's in my safe right now, and I mean, I'm comfortable with that in a 357. You know,
yeah.
I look forward to what we've got coming out as well, because that's another category that has kind of been hibernating, and people have been looking for larger calibers, some optics-ready calibers, and I think that, you know, maybe late next year, people will be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, some new stuff coming with that. You know Hodgdon, they're the gunpowder people. Let's talk about Hodgdon CFE Black, or BLK, actually. It's a spherical propellant. It's designed specifically for the 300 Blackout cartridge. It also includes their CFE, their copper fouling eraser ingredient. Top accuracy with less barrel cleaning time. We can all like that. It's also great for other smaller capacity cartridges like the 6.8 Remington, the 7.62x39 Russian cartridge. But check it out. It's from Hodgdon. It's the CFE Black BLK over at Hodgdon.com. Own an AR? Then it's time to really learn what it can do. The NRA's America's Rifle Challenge, or ARC, is the ultimate way to train, test your skills, and compete safely with your AR-style rifle. Whether you're a new owner or a seasoned pro, ARC offers progressive training and fun. Action-filled matches from 10 yards to 400 and beyond. Rimfire, PCC, and suppressors are welcome. It's time to get out of the booth or off the sighting bench and pressure test yourself and your setup in competition. Find an event or start your own at arc.nra.org. That's arc.nra.org. And if you're a gun club, reach out to host an NRA ARC event at your range. The 2026 Winter Sectionals are fast approaching. NRA ARC. Safariland's latest upgrade to its award-winning inside the waistband holster, the Incog X Cordura wrapped holster. This is engineered for low-profile, everyday carry that doesn't compromise on performance. It's available in multicam, black multicam, and M81 woodland camo. Designed for optics-ready pistols, the clip strut system adds concealability by pushing the grip of your firearm closer to the body, ideal for appendix carry under light clothing. It has adjustable retention and cant, so you can fine-tune your draw. It has an attached mag caddy that comes standard. It's not just tactical, it's tailored. New from Safariland, the Incog X Cordura wrapped holster. Yeah, I've kind of been messing around with revolver carry, not pocket carry, but because I'm not really an appendix guy, but I'm like, you know what? This is an easy way to carry. Maybe it's like the gun I carry when I'm not carrying. I mean, yeah, it'll do the trick, but I think I have more flexibility in the clothes I wear or whatever, but I'm sorry guys, I'm just a little bit more comfortable with a revolver in an appendix situation than maybe a semi-auto, because I don't usually have guns with thumb safeties and stuff like that. So,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, when you consider that market itself, the old way to carry revolvers was hammer down on an empty chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 5 shots, you ultimately only had 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's an inherent nature to the weight of a double action, single action revolver that 10 to 12 pounds on the initial pull isn't going to be something that you do unless it's deliberate.
Yeah, it's definitely deliberate.
And I myself, I am not an appendix carry guy, and I think that those folks who do, it's great. I have a little bit more around my midsection.
You live a life of abundance.
I do. What can I say? I'm a fast food fan. So no, I mean, there's the revolver category still has a place because of that. It's designed to say, hey, look, when I pull that out and I have to action that gun in a specific circumstance, the trigger pull is going to be very deliberate.
Mm-hmm. But smooth. I mean, that's the K6, those guns, it's not like the old school revolvers where you have this to me, it wasn't a very heavy trigger pull. It was a smooth trigger pull. You've been there for a while now. I mean, what are some of the standouts for you that you just like that maybe people haven't thought of, or you just have a favorite?
Well, sure. I was asked earlier, I mean, between the 2K11s and the next-gen 1911s, I love our revolvers. I'm a big fan of the 2K11. I'm working on kind of customizing one of my own. And I would have to say that I was really happy the way the next-gen 1911 turned out. But my favorite gun that we've released in recent years has been our CDS9. And that one has kind of fallen into the wayside a little bit with all of the 2K11s. And our CDS9, which stands for Covert Double Stack 9mm, and it is probably what I would definitely say encompasses our tagline of what all guns should be.
Yeah.
So fully ambidextrous. It has an ambidextrous safety, an ambidextrous slide release. It has a reversible magazine release, comes in either a 10, 13, or 15 round magazine.
Wow.
Has an optic cut and also has a rail. But then and that one on the street is around $8.99, $9.99, depending on where you can get it. But our latest introduction is our CDS9 Classic. So you and I, before we got on air, we're talking about kind of some of the younger set that is wanting a more slick down version. So the CDS9 Classic is going to be a lot less expensive.
Okay.
Doesn't have an optics installed. Doesn't have a rail. So if you're looking for a much more concealed gun that's very small, doesn't sacrifice capacity, the CDS9 Lite is definitely where you want to go.
Well, and we were kind of playing with these. You were giving us the rundown. The CDS9, I mean, again, for a small concealed carry type gun, great trigger. I mean, that's going to be super shootable, has real sights on it. And I mean, it's all metal gun?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it just feels like a very shootable gun.
Oh, and we've seen people, one of the things that a lot of people haven't really been talking about is the trend away from tritium sights. Mm-hmm. So between our 2K11s, our next-gen 1911s, none of those have tritium sights. So the team over at Tag Precision out of Texas does a really good job. Their fiber lock front sight comes in here and does everything you need it to do when it comes from what I would consider a traditional target sight. So you have your flat rear sight, and then you have a red carbon fiber or fiber lock piece up front. So hammer fired gun.
Yep.
This one has a very traditional 1911 style trigger pull. So you get that very, very, very consistent straight wall, and then you get that pull that takes up the creep and then break.
Gotcha.
So it takes the best features and attributes of our legacy 1911s, our next gen 1911s, our 2K11s, and all of that same trigger geometry, that legendary John Browning trigger geometry, and incorporates it into our CDS9 family as well.
Thinking about carry guns, do you guys work with holster companies when you're bringing out these guns, especially carry guns?
Oh, yeah. So we've gotten a lot better at that than we had in the past. We've run into some struggles with some of our own timing, but with companies such as Mission First Tactical, Southern Trapper, TXC out of Texas. There's a number of holster companies that we partner with and that are Kimber fans, that were Kimber fans back in the day, and when we've approached them now, they're even bigger fans. And it is a very telling sign that appendix carry kind of wins out with a lot of people wanting more of those holsters.
Yeah.
The days of exterior leather are kind of trending down, but we still have the legacy clients that are out there that want a leather holster. And Southern Trapper does a great job. And then on the polymer side, Mission First Tactical, Phobos, TXC, yeah, we partner with quite a few.
Okay, so they can get that CD9 and find holsters for it.
Oh yeah, we have holsters available on our website, and then there's a couple of other brands out there without a doubt.
Very cool. Lots of stuff coming for you guys.
We are, and if you like that CDS9, I was telling some other guys that we have a gun that's going to be going head-to-head with here around SHOT Show. We're going to have a little bit of a line extension for the CDS9. We're going to have another line extension for our 2K11 family. And we're actually going to have a line extension for the next gens as well.
Not your Kimber of old. I mean, is that fair to say? I'm not picking on old Kimber, but
no.
It feels like there's different things happening there.
Well, very much so. So every company goes through its ebbs and flows and always has opportunities. And one of the opportunities for us was shortening the product development life cycle.
Okay.
So we ended up doing a lot of testing in the past, which you always want to do, but there was not always an opportunity to really shorten the life cycle as far as the development time. So we've done a much better job of planning out when we're coming to market with products, what the consumer would look for next. And we have increased the cadence, and we're still kind of tweaking that. Some of the things have been a little too fast here and there.
You got to make sure it's right.
And available.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing is that we've run into some challenges with some availability, but we're working on that as well. But yeah, instead of just one new gun every 4 years, now we're looking at a new model at least every year, if not every 18 months.
Oh wow!
So.
And the next one's going to be a 3K11, everybody. Triple stack. You heard it here first.
Triple stack 22. You never know.
We're going to get Everett in trouble. Man, thanks for being with us. This has been fun.
Ryan's terrific, and thanks for having me. It's been a great time.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. That's kind of the latest from Kimber. Hope it was enlightening. It was for me to see all the really new stuff they're doing. And we will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.